as far as the interview expectations and understanding of the process. And I would also say that make sure you have networked before you go for the interview, because that way you are able to speak to somebody who has already gone through the process, and you can pick up some really helpful tips there in order to be better prepared for your interview.
Yes, and then after that, again, the interview process I went through were very structured. So, fortunately for me, they basically said afterwards, the time frame in which they would contact me and let me know, and they pretty much did that exact time frame. I know some people have said that they haven't heard after their interview process and they've had trouble getting feedback. Not in my case. For the position I have now, literally, but they were very open. They were like, we're trying to get this team started, you will hear within a week, and I did with my offer. Even for the two positions that I went through the other whole process and I didn't get, I heard back very quickly. I think it was probably within a few days, actually. And this is a good thing. The person who gave me the feedback, who was the hiring manager for those two positions, he called me personally, he gave me the feedback, and I felt like I had such a good rapport with him that actually we are connected on LinkedIn. He gave me his personal number, and he offered to be like a mentor with me after I told him I got this position I have now, just like in the industry, because he's been in utilization management. So I also want to make the point that even if you don't get a position, use your interview process as a time to network, because even though it just so happened that the second position I didn't get was one where they preferred to have a child psychiatrist. And after he called me for that one, he said, listen, we rarely get child psychiatrists. He's like, it's so unusual. He said, this time we got two people in the interview process. So they interviewed me. I'm not a child psychiatrist, but they got two other people who were. And because in that business, they deal a lot with autism and ABA and things of this nature. They wanted someone who was more familiar with that. And, but I appreciated it because, when you don't get a position, you always wonder why. And I appreciate the fact that he called and told me, but that he also offered to be like a mentor for me in this business, because he just appreciated like my work and how I interview. So even if you don't get it, please know you can also use your interview process to network. And he has become a contact for me, even though I don't work for that company, which I'm like, so I feel so privileged that he offered that. So, and it was good feedback because he gave me some other feedback from my first interview process, the way I answered the question. I'm going to tell you what the question was. I got asked, do you have any experience? And I said, no. And after that interview, he said, don't answer that way.
You do have yes.
Exactly. And you're a coach, so you would have told me that too. See, that's why I'm saying you're new to this and you don't know, he said, when you get asked that, you tell me all the transferable skills that you have for this role. See, you're shaking your head. That's what you do. And so that's the valuable feedback that you can get along. And when people appreciate how you show up, you'll get that, even if you're lucky enough. If I probably I made so many mistakes, but it ended up working out. But yeah, if you get asked that question, the answer is not no. You answer with your transferable skills.
Right. And with physicians, and I'm sure with other healthcare workers as well, it's a challenge because we have this one track mind when we're in clinical medicine. And our self concept is all built around that one track mind that we are physicians and this is what we can do. So it takes them a while. Some people, it takes them a while to really embrace that I do have these transferable skills, that I do have experience, and really communicate it. And I think that makes a difference during the interview.
Yep. But yeah, it was a very long process. And I think just don't be discouraged. And I think, again, as physicians, especially in psychiatry, it's so underserved that it's so easy to get a clinical job that I think when I was interviewing and it wasn't happening, it was easy to get discouraged. So I think just know that you have to expect no's and rejections during the process. And again, you'll find your spot. And people were telling me that during the process, and it was hard to hear, but I think you just have to expect that you might hear no's and that it might take longer than you expect. And, that could just be part of the process.